Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Johanna. Our next speakers are Mr. Jose Saucedo and Ms. Aisha Al Maadeed, who will be speaking to us about how we can help beat plastic pollution.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Good evening. How is it going? Good. All right. I see some thumbs up in there. Well, thank you so much for inviting us. My name is Jose. I am the director of the Doha Environmental Actions Project DEEP, amongst other things. And I'm gonna let Ms. Aisha introduce herself before we go into a short presentation about plastic pollution and how you guys can help us make a difference. Ms. Aisha?
Yes, hello everyone, good evening. Thank you for having us. I hope everyone is enjoying. My name is Aisha, I'm from Green and Future Initiative, and we are here to save the environment together.
All right. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna be sharing a Kahoot with you, but I need to have access to share my screen. Okay, now I have access, thank you. Because I want you to be able to see the questions and then the password for the Kahoot. So let me do that really quick. It's going to be a short Kahoot. This is going to be your introduction to the talk, guys. We're going to be talking about plastic pollution. It is a problem, and we just want to give you a little bit of background so that you guys can, engage in a conversation. And then Ms. Aisha will be telling us and will be talking to us about what can we do? Okay, yes, plastic pollution, big problem. So what? What do we do now? Type of thing. So can you guys see my screen with the Kahoot? The pin number is loading. All right. So you guys go ahead to your devices. The pin number is 1561325. I'm just going to give it a minute or two so that people log in, but I see a lot of names popping up. All right. It's only going to be a few questions, guys. And you can stop me at any time and ask questions. Ms. Aisha and I are going to try to keep an eye on the chat. So you can also ask us questions there. To the extent that is possible, we'll try to answer those questions.
Mr. Saucedo, sorry to cut you off, but a lot of us are saying we can't see your screen. It's like still on the questions. We can't see like the names and stuff.
Let me see. Maybe I'm sharing the wrong screen.
Maybe your screen is frozen.
Okay, let's see. There you go. How about now? Can you see that?
Yeah, it's good. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Sorry about that. All right. We have around 55 people on now. So I'll just give it a few more seconds. Okay. We have 60 people in, so I think we'll start. Everyone else can catch up. The pin number 156.
Wait.
Okay, we'll wait. So how many of you think you're knowledgeable about plastic pollution? How many of you would say, yep, I know my stuff about plastic pollution? You can raise your hand, show us electronically. I see some hands up. All right, we'll see. We're gonna put your knowledge to the test. Lots of hands in there.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay. All right, guys, we have around 70 people in. So let's start just for the sake of time, because we don't want to waste anybody's time here. All right, guys, so we're talking about plastic pollution. It is a big problem. And when we say that it is a big problem, you know, how many tons of plastic do you think that are entering the oceans every year? What do you guys think? 8 million tons. At least 8 million tons of trash enter the oceans every year of plastic waste. Just to put a little bit of perspective, that's the equivalent of having one dump truck dump all its cargo into the ocean every minute. So when we say it is a big problem, it is a big problem. And it's for every country around the world. It's not an exception for us here in Qatar. Plastic pollution is a big problem. The whole world is trying to figure it out. And we really need you guys to give us a hand and to do what we can so that we can really make a difference. Now, how many tons of trash do you think that deep volunteers have collected in Qatar in the past couple of years? Because as I say, the problem is not unique, it's not an exception for us. It's 130 tons of trash that we've collected in 228 cleanups, where more than 11,000 volunteers, perhaps some of you have participated in some of those cleanups. So it's a big problem. And also an opportunity, because we look at this as if it's trash, but it's materials that can be reused, that can fuel a whole industry. And Ms. Aisha will be talking about that in a little bit more. But just I want you guys to think about that. And if you think this number is big, this is nothing compared to how much Al Baladiyya collects on a monthly or annual basis across Qatar. So big problem, real problem. Let's go to the next one. What percentage of all plastic is recycled worldwide? What do you guys think? All right, here, you know, the point here that I want to make is I'm not here to demonize plastics. In general, plastics is, you know, it's a great material that helps and serves a lot of purposes in our modern life. I think the problem is if we dispose of it improperly. And that's what the problem is that we litter a lot of this plastic, and then the recycling rates around the world are super, super low. Around 9% of all plastic is recycled. So very simple. If you have 10 water bottles, only one of them is being recycled, and all other 9 are being disposed. Let's hope that some of them properly, and a lot of them improperly, just you know, in the form of litter in different places around the world. So big opportunity there for the recycling industry, for some businesses, and just to do a better job handling that waste. Now, people always say, it's like, oh, well, you know, this trash came from the ocean, you know? But actually, what percentage of ocean plastic comes from land sources? How did it get to the ocean? Yes, the ocean is washing it off on the shore. But how did it get to the ocean to begin with? And it is 80%. 80% of the plastic bags, bottles, and all the trash that we find on the beach or on the ocean came from land sources. That's the bottle that you and I threw away at the Corniche, at the football stadium, or maybe at school during recess, or coming out of the mall, whatever, that bag that I just threw out the window, is eventually going to find its way into the water, into the ocean. So 80% of that, it's you and I not disposing that trash properly. Now, on average, each person uses 136 kilos of single-use plastics every year. True or false? What do you guys think? Think about it, 136 kilos of trash that we are using on average. And if you want to know where you are, I invite you to do an exercise at home. You know, just collect all the single-use plastics that you use for 1 week. And weigh it and see how much volume that is. And then you can extrapolate and get a better idea of what's your plastic consumption on a regular basis. But we use a lot of plastic. Myself, I try to be very plastic conscious. I recycle all the plastic that I use, or most of it, if it's recyclable and if we can recycle it in Qatar. But I oftentimes find myself using a lot of plastic just because I don't have options sometimes. We have to do what we have to do with whatever is available. So it's just something for you guys to consider. Good job, Juliana. All right. Now, why is it important to not destroy the oceans and pollute with plastic? Is because a big number of people depend on the seafood as their main source of protein on their diet. So how many people you think depend on this around the world? 2.5 billion people. That's almost a third of the world's population. And plastic pollution is just a big problem because yet it's polluting the ocean, but it's also entering the food chain. All sorts of marine life, animals, fish, crustaceans, you name it. Every animal is eating microplastics. And then, we are eating those animals. So it really becomes a big problem. There's a lot of ongoing research trying to understand what the true impact of that is on human health. But it cannot be good. It cannot be good because none of us was meant to be eating plastic, right? So anyways, let's go to the next question before the next two questions before we start talking about what we can do. How many kilos of plastic do you think the average volunteer collects on Deep's beach cleanups here in Qatar? What do you guys think? And by the way, that's on this photo, it is 12 kilos. So good job to those 14 people who said 12 kilos. On that photo, that's no average volunteer. That's Her Excellency Sheikh Al Mayasa, who is a big supporter and a big champion of doing the right thing and fighting plastic pollution in Qatar and the world. So everyone has to do their part, young and old, locals, expats, everybody. We all have a responsibility to make a difference and do the right thing so that the future generations can enjoy litter-free spaces, they can enjoy the beach, and we can just be proud to say that we did what we could to help preserve the environment for your children or your future children and my children. All right, guys, last but not least, are you ready to do what it takes to keep Qatar clean? So you better say yeah or sign me up. So this is it, guys. Just wanted to give you some numbers. I don't want to bore you to death with too much detail, but I'm going to take a quick pause here and answer any questions you may have before we go into, okay, we get it. Plastic pollution, big problem, big numbers. What can we do? And Miss Aisha is going to help us with some of that. So let me try to get the chat to see if there's any questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Stop sharing. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Are there any questions? Sarika, I think you have a question. Go ahead, Sarika.
I don't have a question. I just want to say that we had NSRC project last year. So I and my friend had done it on saving marine life and we cleaned the beach.
That is awesome. That's fantastic. And just as I said, everybody can make a difference. Big or small, every effort makes a difference and counts towards the preservation of the environment. So thank you. Anyone else? Are there any questions that you'd like to ask before we carry on? Do you still have campaigns during the cleanups, for cleanups during the pandemic? So we did what we could. We just finished season 4. And throughout the year, it was hard because we had limitations as to how many people, how many volunteers we could have. But we did our best. We continued having cleanups as long as we were allowed to go to the beach. There was a point in time that we couldn't go to the beach. A lot of people saying that you'd like to volunteer and how you can do that. The easiest thing to do is if you follow us on Instagram at Deep Qatar. I'm going to put the handle there on the chat, Deep_Qatar. You will see when we're going to reactivate activities, where we're going next, and this and that. So all the information is available in our page.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so now about the topic where your team and you are trying to clean up Qatar. What inspired you to clean up the Qatar and like make the world like non-polluted?
Well, for me, I just love nature. I love nature. I love the beach, and I have 3 small kids. So for me, what am I going to tell my kids when they're older and they look at me and say, like, really, Dad? Like, what do you do about this? You saw all this happening, and what do you do? So I did not want that answer to be nothing, right? Now, I
Yeah.
cannot do a lot, but there's some things that I could do. So for me, that's my motivation. It's all of you guys.
As you also said, as also in Kahoot, there was a question where it was like the beach question where it was like pollution and everything. Yeah, I've also like experienced the beach pollution because last year when I went to the desert with my school, I saw a lot of pollution and we had to clean it up because the pollution was like way too much. So it was like a fun task for us.
Yes, and you touch a good point. It's not only the beach that it's polluted, it's the overall environment. We go to the dunes in the middle of the desert, there's no ocean, and we collect 1,000 kilos of trash, 500 kilos of trash during a cleanup. So we really need to take care of the environment, and we do it for all of you guys, for all of us, for the future generations. All right, well, Miss Aisha, any upcoming sessions for cleanups? We're taking a pause. We're gonna restart in August, September. So just, check out our page on Instagram, and we're going to be updating you guys with upcoming cleanups in there. But I'm going to pass it on to Miss Aisha because we can talk all we want about plastic pollution, but what is really important is what are you going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? So Miss Aisha is going to tell us all about that. Go ahead, Miss Aisha.
Thank you so much, Jose. Well, as I mentioned before, I'm from Greener Future Initiative. So our main goal is how to deliver the message to protect the environment. First of all, I want everyone to ask themselves, why will I protect the environment? Why will I save the environment? First of all, you should start with yourself, speak to yourself, so you can understand the cause. Why is it important to save the environment? Later on, you take an action that you want to save the environment. As the Kahoot today was about the plastic pollution and the plastic that it's landing in landfills in the ocean, and they are damaging marine life, damaging wildlife, and also is damaging us as a human being. There is recently a study that says in one day we are eating amount of plastic of a credit card, and this is something so let you to stop and think, where does this plastic come from that is entering my body? So to save the environment, what is the things that we should do to save the environment? Of course, to change our habits, our regular habits are not easy, but when we have an action and we start, then we will go in the path and we will flow with it. So first of all, for example, if we're going to the grocery, instead of taking the plastic bags, we take with us our own reusable bags. Here we are reducing the amount of single use of bags. If we're going for a lunch or for a coffee, we bring our reusable mugs or reusable containers. Here we're gonna reduce the plastic packaging. So it's just a small steps. And also to protect the environment and to save the environment, it's not only to have a beach cleanup, not only to change our habits, also to understand this belief. What is our needs? What is our wants? As a consumers, when we buy an object, or we buy any item, for example, I bought this one, this item, will it stay for me for years, or I'm gonna use it for just one day and then I'm gonna throw it away? I need to think about the expiration date of it, when it will expire, where will it go, will it protect the environment or not? Even our cosmetics, other products, we need to know if it will harm us if it will harm the environment, it will also harm us as a human being. So we need to be more aware of these things. We need to understand, read more, learn about it more. We can watch documentary films, we can read more about it. where we can discuss it with the other people that they are interested in, or they are environmental or environmentalist. Everyone can be environmentalist, and everyone can protect the environment. We really need to believe in this cause and know exactly what is our role as a human being. As Jose mentioned, all of the things that we find in the sea or in the ocean, it came from us. It's from our action. It's not, it just became there. No, it's from our action. We see a lot of people that they are throwing stuff from their car windows. We see a lot of people are not making a consider about the divided bins. This is all need to be considered, and also to understand what is the next step. Also, there is planting trees. We know that planting trees is very important in climate change, and also the weather. So why it's important to plant. Also, we can start from our houses. We plant some plants in our houses. If we have like a space in our house indoor, we have a section of indoor plants and also outdoor plants. We can even when we plant, we can also eat from our growing. So there is a specific, or let's say small steps that we can start to lead the path. So nothing is hard. Everyone can start. It's simple, easy. You just have this to have this power and this belief to start something new. Maybe it's new to your life, or maybe it's not. And as I mentioned, to change our habits day by day, we practice, and then we reach as many people as we want. We start with ourselves, then our family, relatives, friends, and then to our community. So I don't know if anyone have a question about what I'm talking about.
I see there's one question in the Zoom. There's Neha. You can unmute yourself and ask your question now.
Okay. If anyone have.
Yes, my question is, do you adopt any other way of cleaning up Qatar's environment other than occasional cleanups?
You mean how do we clean Qatar?
Yes, are there any other methods you adopt other than occasional cleanups?
I didn't get your question.
Yeah, I think she's asking what else can we do in addition to a cleanup to keep Qatar clean?
Yeah, if this is what you mean, as I mentioned, is that at the beginning that we just don't focus about beach cleanup, or let's say cleanup trips. We also need to focus as individuals and as a consumers. As I mentioned, when we buy a product, do we really need this product? We stand up for needs and wants. Do I really need it or not? Will it let me to be happy? Will it let me? Will it be a good thing for me as a human being and for the environment? This is the first thing of all. Later on, we go for recycling, or let's say the reuse, or the repropose. Do we really need this stuff, and how we reuse it and we recycle it? Of course, recycling, I need to mention this, that recycling there is a percentage of it that it will harm the air, harm the pollution by air pollution, because of the factory and the smoke that comes from the factory itself. So to clean up Qatar, or to Qatar to be clean, is also us as a consumer, how we have this action in buying stuff, and where we land it. Do we really dispose it in a correct way or not?
I think that's one of the most important things, Aisha. You just mentioned it. Step number one is put trash in the bin. Yes. The best thing we can do is to make sure that everyone around us is putting the trash in the bin. And because we do the cleanup just to create awareness, but really if we want to fix the problem, we need to stop littering. So to stop littering, we need to put the trash in the bins. We need to recycle. We need to reduce our plastic consumptions. We need to do all of those things that Ms. Aisha was mentioning. But people are in different places. You know, some people are already more advanced on their journey than others, on their green journey than others. So anyways.
I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I think we have time for one more question. So I think Aima, if you want to go ahead.
I would say that even putting trashes in the bin, collecting up trash from the beaches in specific areas, at the end, the plastic bags, the cans, they're going to go at the same place. I mean, collecting them up is like if it's spread around, but at the end, they're going to go at the same compile, because I've seen those. They're like very huge area, and there are a lot of like vertically, and then they're stacked up on each other, and they're kept there.
Miss Aisha, do you want to comment?
The beginning of the question was cutting, so I'm not clear with all of the message. I think, do you mean that where will end the trash that we are collecting?
No, I mean like the things that we are collecting, the trash we are collecting, it's going to go at the same end. So how would be it effective to put it in the bin? Because like there are workers who are going to collect.
I'm sorry, unfortunately, time has ended for the workshop. It's already 9 o'clock, so we're gonna have to end it. But I just wanted to thank Mr. Jose and Miss Aisha for the amazing workshop. And I will be handing over to Natalie to introduce our next keynote speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So welcome to the final session of the first day of the conference. We would like to welcome our honored guest, Mr. Hamad Al Maadeed, comedian, producer, and entrepreneur. He'll be delivering a keynote titled It's About Goals. Mr. Al Maadeed, the floor is yours.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, and it's always a pleasure to see Mr. Jose and Mrs. Aisha. Thank you for your involvement and for always sticking true to the message. It was very difficult for me to come up with today's topic because everything that I've been doing, I feel is a result of the life that I've had growing up in very different countries. So I grew up in America when I was much younger. And then in my teenage and formative years, I was in Ireland, and then I came back to Qatar. And then I left Qatar to go to university at the age of 18 and came back to Qatar at 23